We're going to do a quick review of 2.06 quiz. It's also a great preview of the quiz. So if you haven't gone through the 2.06 lesson, this will give kind of a preview of what to expect. First, we want to look at flowchart proofs. This is a type of proof which visually represents a proof. It displays the conjecture, the given information, the statements with their reasons, and the conclusion all in a nice visual way. So you can see here, they tell you what you're given, they tell you what you need to prove, and then in the yellow in each of these particular flowcharts is the reason, or excuse me, the statement, and then the reason would fill in the white part. So here, this is an example of something on the quiz where you would be filling in this reason. So you'd have the statement with the reason or the proof. And so this would be, for example, I'm saying the measure of angle UVX, this large angle here, is equal to the measure of UVW and plus the measure of WVX. So what that's telling me is that if I add up the two smaller angles, I get the larger angle. The reason, that I know that that's true is the angle addition postulate that we talked about earlier. We talked about that in Unit 1. So for the reason, I would put the angle addition postulate. That's what you'd fill in if you were doing this on a quiz. Then here, you have two examples where they're just stating the measure of the angle. And the reason that they know what the measure of angle UVW is because it was given, so we just say given. And we're trying to prove that UVX, the measure of the whole angle, is 105. So then they use the substitution property by substituting in the measure of the two angles. And then simplify is the last reason, and we have shown that that larger angle is equal to 105, adding up the two smaller angles, but giving a statement and a reason each time. Same thing here, except for this time, we are given that, let's see, it says PQ is congruent to QR, so those two legs are congruent. We know that PQ is 3x minus 1. We know QR is 26. We need to prove that x equals 9. So what we would take is we would take the three givens right here. They're all listed across the top. And then we're going to move to some more statements with reasons. So we know PQ is congruent to QR. We were given that. But what they're telling us is we said PQ is congruent to QR. Well, then I know the distance. This is saying here the distance from P to Q is equal to the distance from Q to R. And that's the segment congruence postulate. Then we're substituting in PQ and QR. Those two values are substituted in. The next one, we would be adding 1 to both sides. So hint, hint, that's what you're going to be doing here. You would be adding 1 to both sides. You'd say 3x equals 27. Then you would use the division property of equality, divide by 3, and you get 9. Paragraph proofs are the same process, except for they list the steps of the proof with the reason in full sentences, and they explain the process like a story. So you would fill in, here it says, by the triangle sum theorem, the sum of the angles in a triangle is equal to 180 degrees. Therefore, using the given and triangle sum theorem, we know that measure of angle P plus measure of angle Q plus measure of angle R equals 180. Using the substitution property, so then we would fill in, notice you're given all the measures of the angles. So for substituting, you would probably substitute in those angle measures. So that's what would go here. Simplifying the equation gets 9x equals 180. Finally, using the division property of equality, you would divide both sides by 9 using the division property of equality, and you would get your answer here. And same process on this one. So you're just going through these proofs. You're either filling in the reason or the statement, whichever one is missing in each step. The important thing here is to take it slow, read through it, and make sure you take your time.